Three news stories for you. Firstly, viewers, Israeli president is due to arrive in the United Arab Emirates in coming hours. PM Abiy of Ethiopia was there yesterday. And a few days ago, Egyptian President Al-Sisi also visited the UAE. Secondly, viewers, we have a new story from Horo Guduru in Western Oromia. Reportedly, Addis Ababa Horo Guduru Road has been closed for more than a month. There is significant presence of Oromo Liberation Army there. We have received some pictures about what's happening on the ground in Horo Guduru. And lastly, viewers, airstrikes and drone strikes are underway on Tigray Afar border. I have been updating you about this front. TDF is in Afar now. We know that in several waradas of Afar, there is presence of Tigray Defense Force. We've been updating about the forces which are supporting Afar forces. Now we have a confirmation that Ethiopian Air Force is supporting Afar fighters in at least two places. Some airstrikes have been reported. We have a statement of Valerie Browning, sorry. She is called Malika of Afar, an Australian nurse who has been working in Afar for around 3 decades. She is founder of Afar Pastoralist Development Association, APDA. She has also confirmed that Ethiopian government forces are using drones on this front. Firstly, viewers, Israeli President John Herzog is due to arrive in the UAE in coming hours. He has departed for UAE and officially has been confirmed that he has left for UAE. This is the first visit of an Israeli president to the UAE. Israeli Prime Minister visited the UAE a few days ago. I think it was in December that Naftali Bennett, Israeli Prime Minister, visited the UAE. Now the president is due to arrive there. Interestingly, UAE is under pressure because we have seen drone strikes and missile strikes on UAE from Yemen. Iran-backed Houthi fighters have struck UAE twice in the past few days. Now, Israel is offering that it can provide security and intelligence cooperation to the UAE's government against Houthi drone strikes. Israel has Iron Dome air defense system, one of the best air defense systems, especially against rockets and missiles, short-range rockets. And we've seen this Iron Dome air defense system in operation a few weeks ago when there was fighting between Israeli forces and some Palestinian groups. Now, is the UAE going to receive Iron Dome from Israel? That remains to be seen. But that shows the level of cooperation increasing between Israel and the UAE. You see, viewers, these two countries were arch rivals a few years ago. They fought battles. Arabs and Israeli Jews fought battles in the past. But now they are repairing their ties. Why can't it happen here? People of Ethiopia, which I'm covering the conflict, why can't they sit for talks? If those countries who were arch rivals, who fought wars, and they are normalizing their relations, why can't the people of Tigray and Amhara, leaders of Tigray and Amhara sit together and talk? It can happen here as well. Now, secondly, viewers, we have an update from Western Oromia. Where there is still significant presence of Oromo Liberation Army despite some new offensives by Oromia regional government. OLA is still there in Horo Guduru. We have got confirmation that Horo Guduru-Addis Ababa main road is still closed. The road was closed around 3 weeks ago, I think, when we got this confirmation that it was closed. And now, yesterday, we again confirmed road is still closed. It's an indication that the area, much of the area there is conflict area, and Oromo Liberation Army has significant presence in Horo Guduru and in places like West Velega and Kalam Velega. Despite new offensives from Oromia regional government, OLA has not been pushed out of these places so far. We have seen drone strikes as well. We saw pictures of Muhajir 6 Iranian drones parked at Sosa airport in BG. Sosa is in BG, Benishan Gumas. From Sosa, drone strikes are being conducted on Kalam Velega, but still we're seeing that OLA has its significant presence in West Oromia, especially in Horo Guduru. Lastly, viewers, Tigray, Afar fighting, an update for you. Ethiopian Air Force has joined this fighting. Airstrikes and drone strikes are being reported. We have several other updates about this front. In the next video, we'll try to update you. Right now, we can confirm that Ethiopian Air Force is conducting drone strikes and airstrikes, though the use of drones is limited because of the terrain, because it's hilly terrain so far where fighting is going on. If TDF goes deep into Afar, then the terrain would be flat and it might have to go through deserts. But right now, since fighting is in border areas, so here terrain is hilly, so it's difficult to use drones extensively. But we have confirmed several drone strikes and airstrikes within the past few days in Rabati to the east of Abala, and on Birhale front some drone strikes are being reported. So far, Ethiopian National Defense Force has not joined Afar fighters on this front. No confirmation that ENDF is here. No confirmation that Amhara militias are fighting here as well. What we can confirm only is that Ethiopian Air Force is part of the fighting. Now it is conducting drone strikes and airstrikes. Valerie Browning is an Australian nurse who has worked in Afar for more than 3 decades, I think. She founded Afar Pastoralist Development Association, APDA. She has talked to an international news outlet, and she has also confirmed that Ethiopian Air Force is using drones, though she says that Tigray Air Force are trying to move towards Ethiopia-Djibouti road, which I do not agree with. Take a listen to what Valerie Browning said about the use of drones and about TDF's attempt to reach Ethiopia-Djibouti road. Thanks for watching.
In Afar, describing the move as a response to attacks by pro-government forces on their positions. Incidentally, the UN says people in Amhara and Afar are also affected by food shortages. Valerie Browning has lived in Afar for 35 years and leads the Afar Pastoralist Association. So who's resisting the advance of Tigrayan forces?
The local people, the local militias. So they've come into the local districts. I can name them, 5 districts in the north. And it would appear they're trying to break through the road that runs through that northern area, through Lake Afdera, the Salt Lake, down to the Djibouti highway, and get that road access back into Tigray again. It's become even a larger scale catastrophe than we had in October, November with fighting in central Afar.
Are Ethiopian government forces anywhere to be seen?
At the moment, no, but the Ethiopian Air Force is using drones to try and help on the Afar side, because the Tigray have the highland the high hills, and they're firing down rockets continually, plus using tank warfare. Afar have the Kalashnikovs, and that's all they have.
You've been up to the north near the border with Tigray. I mean, what did you see there?
Well, it was hard to find the displaced people because the displaced people now are very terrorized. We cannot quite verify everything, but there seems to have been a couple of nasty massacres of people who were displaced before. For example, a water truck that we were using to truck water to displaced people was taken by the TPLF and burnt, and then the whole of that settlement burnt. And according to the driver of the truck driver of the tanker, women and children also killed. Enormous amount of fear in the people. And literally just this afternoon, we've been having a meeting with the Afar government, what to